Chapter 1: Suffering, Diagnosis versus Transfiguration. Suffering is a universal experience, isn't it? It's like that heavy cloud that hangs over us at times, casting shadows on our joy. But what if I told you that both Buddha and Nietzsche, two great thinkers from different worlds, had something profound to say about it? Their views may seem miles apart, but they both lead us to the heart of a deep truth about human existence. Let's start with Buddha. He lived in a time when he saw the pain people went through. He didn't shy away from suffering. Instead, he faced it head-on. Buddha taught that suffering is an inherent part of life. It's like the water we swim in, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. He suggested that the root of suffering lies in our attachments and desires. We cling to things, our possessions, our relationships, even our emotions, as if they are permanent. But nothing in life lasts forever, does it? This constant grip can lead to deep disappointment and pain. Buddha offered a diagnosis. Our suffering stems from craving and attachment. But he didn't just leave it at that. He presented a path for transformation. Through mindfulness and letting go, we can find peace amidst the chaos. Imagine walking in a forest, surrounded by tall trees. If your focus is only on the imperfections in the branches or the rocks in your path, you miss the beauty of the whole scene. This is what Buddha urges us to shift our focus from our suffering to the beauty of life itself. Now, let's bring Nietzsche into the discussion. He came from a completely different perspective. Nietzsche saw suffering as something we should embrace, not just diagnose. He believed that suffering could lead to strength and growth. Life is not about avoiding pain. It's about facing it and using it to become who we were meant to be. He once said, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." For him, suffering was a teacher, a necessary part of the human experience. Imagine a moment in your life when you faced a significant challenge, a breakup, a job loss, or even a personal loss. In those times of struggle, did you not find parts of yourself you never knew existed? Perhaps you discovered inner strength, compassion, or a clearer understanding of what truly matters. Nietzsche would argue that this is the beauty of suffering. It transforms us into more authentic versions of ourselves. So, here's where it gets interesting. Buddha would encourage us to let go of our attachments, whereas Nietzsche would push us to confront our pain. The two philosophies seem contradictory at first glance, yet both offer valuable insights. What if we could take a bit from both? We can acknowledge our suffering while using it as a catalyst for growth. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt overwhelmed by your emotions? Maybe it was something as simple as a rough day at work. It's easy to push those feelings aside, right? But what if instead of avoiding them, you pause to feel them truly? In those moments, you might uncover feelings of anger or sadness, but within that struggle, you may also find a lesson, a desire for change, growth, or even a spark of creativity. This is a small taste of both Buddha's and Nietzsche's wisdom. Now, common misunderstandings often arise when we talk about suffering. Some people believe that acceptance means giving up or being passive. Buddha's teachings don't suggest complacency, but instead advocate for an active engagement with our emotions and experiences. Acceptance is the first step toward transformation. In contrast, Nietzsche's concept of suffering is sometimes misinterpreted as glorifying pain, as if we should seek it out. But he merely emphasizes that when life gets tough, we have the strength to rise above it. Life, in its complexity, is a dance between acceptance and confrontation. In the morning when you wake up, do you scroll through your phone, seeing only the highlights of others' lives? We can often forget that everyone has their struggles, their moments of suffering. It's important to remember that each challenge we face can serve as a stepping stone toward deeper understanding or compassion. Consider a small spiritual incident inspired by Buddhist teachings. Imagine a woman named Maya. One day while walking through her neighborhood, she experiences a sudden, intense wave of sadness. Instead of dismissing it, she stops. She takes a deep breath and allows herself to feel that pain without judgment. In that moment of stillness, she recognizes the sadness as part of her journey, not something to fear. Over time, this acceptance brings her clarity, opening her heart to the beauty around her that she had overlooked before. As we sit with this idea, let's reflect on our own lives. When faced with suffering, how do you usually respond? Do you shy away, or do you lean in, seeking the lessons hidden within? This willingness to engage with our pain can lead to profound growth. Buddha's approach to suffering encourages us to practice mindfulness. By being present and observing our thoughts and emotions without attachment, we can start to see our suffering differently. It doesn't define us, rather it is part of our human experience. On the other hand, Nietzsche would remind us to harness that suffering, turning it into a source of power. Life is not meant to be easy, it's designed for growth. As we continue exploring these philosophies, let's keep returning to our own experiences. Each of us has faced difficulties that asked us to dig deeper. A question arises: is it possible that our greatest challenges can lead us to our most authentic selves? Imagine the next time you feel overwhelmed. Instead of running from that feeling, you sit with it. You ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Perhaps you'll find a newfound appreciation for your resilience, or maybe an understanding of what you truly value in life. This reflection can transform suffering from a burden into a tool for growth, aligning with both Buddha's and Nietzsche's wisdom. Now, as we draw closer to the end of our reflection, let's take a moment to slow down. Picture yourself in a quiet space, perhaps a garden or a park. Take a deep breath and feel the warmth of the sun. In this moment, let go of the weight of expectations. Life is not just about struggling through suffering, it's also about embracing the beauty of existence, even amidst the chaos. In the teachings of both Buddha and Nietzsche, we find powerful guidance. Suffering is not simply something to diagnose and dismiss, nor is it a badge of honor to wear. Instead, it is a teacher, a guide that can lead us to greater understanding and compassion. As we close, let's carry this reminder into our daily lives. Suffering is part of our human journey. It's okay to feel lost or overwhelmed, but in those moments, we also have the power to transform. So, let's move forward with open hearts, ready to embrace life in all its complexities, finding depth and beauty in every experience. In the end, every moment of suffering can lead us to a deeper connection with ourselves and others. Embrace it, use it, transform it. Desire, will to power, and the end of craving, a journey through philosophy. Have you ever paused to think about what truly drives you? It's a deep question, one that often reveals more than we intend to uncover. When we dive into the philosophies of Buddha and Nietzsche, we stumble upon a fascinating contrast between desire and will, between craving and empowerment. These two thinkers guide us through the maze of our inner worlds, helping us navigate the complexities of our desires. Buddha teaches us about craving as a source of suffering. He points out that clinging to our desires leads to unhappiness. Think of a moment when you really wanted something, a new gadget, a relationship, even a promotion. That intense focus might have brought excitement, but was that excitement lasting? Often the thrill fades faster than we expect, leaving us wanting more. Buddha encourages us to recognize that this relentless craving can trap us in a cycle of dissatisfaction. On the flip side, Nietzsche introduces us to the idea of the will to power. This isn't just about power in a political sense, but more about the drive within all of us to assert ourselves and transform our lives. He suggests that instead of letting our desires rule over us, we can harness that energy to create meaning and purpose in our lives. It's a powerful shift from being a passive receiver of experiences to becoming an active creator of our own destiny. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves reacting to our cravings instead of choosing how to respond? It's a common misunderstanding that desire itself is the enemy. In reality, it's the unexamined desire, the craving that insists we need more, that can limit our potential. When we cling tightly to our wants, it's like holding onto a rope that just keeps pulling us away from peace. Now, imagine a simple daily routine. You wake up and the first thought is about checking your phone, messages, social media, the news. This desire to stay connected can feel important, even vital, but what if instead you took a moment to breathe, to simply be? Realizing that moment of choice can open up a world of empowerment. You're not merely following your craving, you're asserting your will to savor the present. So where does that leave us? It invites us to question how can we move from a place of craving to one of empowered choice. Let's consider a moment inspired by those who practice mindfulness. Imagine a time when you felt overwhelmed by the demands of life. What if you paused, took a breath, and accepted that feeling without judgment? That moment of acceptance can lead to a deeper understanding of your desires and the space to make conscious choices. Buddha's path emphasizes letting go, while Nietzsche's philosophy suggests wielding our desires like tools. This duality can be a source of confusion. It's easy to think that they're completely opposed to each other, Either we let go or we fight for what we want. But what if they're actually in conversation with each other? The key isn't to suppress desire, but to understand and redirect it. For instance, think about our desire for success. It's easy to become consumed by it, feeling as though we need to climb higher and faster. There's nothing wrong with ambition, but when it turns into an unhealthy obsession, it can strain our relationships and drain our happiness. By practicing mindfulness, inspired by Buddha's teachings, we can learn how to pursue our goals with awareness. We can ask ourselves, what does success mean to me? Is it just a title, or does it embody my values and passions? This reflective practice brings us back to Nietzsche's will to power. It's about channeling that ambition, not letting it control us, but using it as a force for growth. When we empower ourselves to define what success looks like, we embrace the idea that our desires can lead us toward fulfillment. Now, let's switch gears for a moment. Imagine you're walking through a park. You see a child playing joyfully, lost in the moment. They aren't craving the next toy or the next game. They are fully present, enjoying the simple act of playing. Their joy is untainted by the past or future, a perfect example of living without clinging. How can we find that same kind of joy amidst our adult complexities? Buddha would remind us that joy can be found in moments of stillness. Nietzsche would encourage us to seize that joy as a form of creative power. It's a beautiful dance between acknowledging our desires and finding freedom from them. Often, people think of desire as a negative force, something to be avoided or subdued. But in both philosophies, desire isn't inherently bad. It's our relationship with desire that shapes our experience. When we learn to observe our cravings without attachment, we become more aware of their origins. Are they rooted in fear, insecurity, or genuine passion? This understanding can lead to profound insights and even transformation. Reflect on a craving you have right now. What is it telling you? Is it a longing for connection, recognition, or comfort? Instead of dismissing it, could you embrace it as a part of your human experience? This act of acceptance, of merely observing, can be freeing. It opens up space to explore what truly matters to you and why. As we continue this journey, let's not forget the simplicity of mindfulness. Perhaps you could dedicate a few minutes each day to simply sit in silence, allowing your thoughts and feelings to rise and fall like waves. Reflect on what you desire, and notice your relationship with those desires. Are they leading you toward growth, or are they pulling you into unnecessary suffering? In this practice, we can find a balance. We can honor our desires while also recognizing when they might lead us astray. It's a delicate process, one that requires patience and compassion for ourselves. After all, we're all human, navigating a world filled with competing wants and needs. This brings us to the notion of acceptance. Accepting not just our desires, but also our limitations. It's easy to feel frustrated when we can't achieve everything we want. But what if we took a moment to breathe and accept where we are? This doesn't mean we stop striving for more. It means we acknowledge our current state without judgment. As we near the end of our reflection, let's think about how these philosophies can impact our everyday lives. Consider a time when you faced a disappointment. How did your desires shape your response to that situation? Did you cling to the outcome, or did you find a way to move forward? This kind of self-reflection can deepen our understanding of how we engage with both Buddha's and Nietzsche's ideas. Lastly, let's bring tranquility into our thoughts. Imagine sitting quietly, feeling your breath flow in and out. Allow yourself to release any tension or lingering desires. In this moment, simply be. Instead of reaching for what's next, embrace the stillness. This practice of acceptance can lead to profound peace and clarity. Embodying these teachings allows us to transform our relationship with desire from one of craving to one of empowerment. As we navigate life's complexities, may we find strength in understanding, joy in presence, and peace in acceptance. Let's carry this intention forward, using our desires as our guides rather than our chains. In doing so, we might just unlock a deeper, more fulfilling existence. No self and the project of self-overcoming. Have you ever felt like you were constantly chasing something that always seemed just out of reach? Maybe it's a sense of purpose or even happiness. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. This feeling can be exhausting, leaving us yearning for something deeper. Today, let's dive into the fascinating ideas of no self from Buddhism and the concept of self-overcoming found in Nietzsche's philosophy. They might seem light years apart, but they both challenge how we view ourselves and our place in the world. Let's start with the Buddhist idea of no self. On the surface, it might sound a bit strange. How can we not have a self? Don't we all have a clear sense of who we are? Well, Buddhism teaches that our sense of self is often an illusion. Think about it. We define ourselves through our jobs, relationships, and even our past experiences. But what happens when those things change or disappear? Who are we then? This concept encourages us to see that the self is not a fixed thing. It's more like a river, always flowing, always changing. Now switch gears with me to Nietzsche, who talked about self-overcoming. He believed that the essence of life is about pushing boundaries, facing challenges, and growing beyond our current selves. Nietzsche saw life as a constant struggle. Instead of running from pain or difficulty, he encouraged embracing it. By doing so, we can create a version of ourselves that is stronger and richer in experience. At first glance, these two ideas might seem opposites. One says the self is a fleeting illusion, while the other says we must strive to improve that self. But what if they are two sides of the same coin? What if by realizing that our self is not as solid as we think, we can truly start the journey of self-overcoming? Let's think about a simple daily example. Picture yourself in a crowded coffee shop, scrolling through social media. You see friends posting about their perfect vacations, happy relationships, and career successes. It's easy to feel inferior, to cling to that image of a successful self. But what if we flip that perspective? Instead of feeling trapped by envy, you acknowledge that these portrayals are just snippets of life. They don't define you. This recognition can free you to pursue your own path without the burden of comparison. After all, life isn't about fitting into a neat box. It's about the messy, beautiful journey of becoming. Consider the moments in your life when you faced difficulties. Perhaps you lost a job or ended a relationship. In those moments, you might have felt shattered, struggling to understand who you were. But in the process of picking up the pieces, you often discover strength you didn't know you had. Those experiences push you to redefine yourself, to engage in self-overcoming. It's about rising from the ashes, like a phoenix, and realizing that the self you're becoming is still connected to that fluid idea of no self. As we explore these ideas, it's easy to misunderstand that no self means dismissing individuality. It doesn't mean we are not unique, special, or important. Think of it more like understanding that our identities are not rigid labels. This can bring a deep sense of relief, allowing us to drop the weight of expectations. We don't have to be the perfect version of ourselves all the time. We are allowed to be a work in progress. Let's take a moment. Have you ever found yourself so attached to a particular view of who you are that it became suffocating? Maybe it's your identity as a parent, a professional, or a friend. Imagine letting go of those rigid definitions. What could that feel like? Often, when we simply allow ourselves to be, life opens up in unexpected ways. This is the heart of both Buddhist teachings and Nietzsche's philosophy, a kind of freedom. Freedom to fail, to grow, and to redefine who we are based on our experiences rather than external expectations. Rather than clinging to a fixed identity, we can see ourselves as evolving beings. Now think about moments where you've been inspired by someone overcoming their struggles. Perhaps a friend struggled with their health and transformed their life through sheer determination. Or think of a public figure who faced criticism and emerged stronger, advocating for change. These stories show us how powerful self-overcoming can be. They remind us that our perceived weaknesses can become our strengths, shaping us in profound ways. What about the fear of losing oneself? That's a common concern. Many people think that if they let go of their self-image, they'll become lost or unrecognizable. But here lies a beautiful irony. The more we cling to a fixed self, the more constrained we become. If we allow ourselves to step into the unknown, we may find a fuller, richer version of ourselves waiting on the other side. It's like going hiking in a dense forest. When you start, you might feel anxious, worried about losing your way. But as you walk deeper in, you start to notice the beauty around you. The trees, the birds, the quiet. Suddenly, the journey becomes more important than the destination. Your focus shifts from fear to exploration, and in that space, you find a broader sense of belonging. So, how do we start embracing no self while engaging in self-overcoming? It's a gradual process, much like learning to ride a bike. You begin with wobbly moments, trying to balance between understanding your fluid identity and pushing yourself to grow. Practice self-compassion. When you stumble, remind yourself it's all part of the journey. Reflect on your daily life. What are some little spaces where you can let go of rigid identities? Maybe it's approaching a new hobby without labeling yourself as a beginner or expert. Or perhaps it's in conversations with friends, where you allow yourself to speak freely, unhitched from past judgments. As we wrap up this reflection, let's take a deep breath together. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Feel that connection to the present moment. You are not just the sum of your experiences. You are also the potential of what you can become. Life is a beautiful, complex tapestry, and beneath all the threads lies a greater truth, that we are all interconnected. Like waves touching the shore, our lives influence one another. Embracing the idea of no self and self-overcoming allows us to dance with these realities instead of fighting against them. Ultimately, there is a calm wisdom in understanding that our identities are not fixed. They shift and flow just as the world around us does. By letting go of the need to define ourselves too rigidly, we invite growth and possibility into our lives. How might you carry this understanding into your day-to-day life? Perhaps the next time you feel the weight of expectation, remember this conversation. Let it remind you of the beauty in becoming, not just being. And so we continue this journey together, bound by our shared humanity, ever evolving, ever learning. What does it mean to truly care for someone? It's a question that can stir up a lot of feelings. When we think about compassion, pity, and strength, we often find ourselves in a tug-of-war between wanting to help others and the fear of being overwhelmed by their pain. In the philosophies of Buddha and Nietzsche, this conflict takes on a deeper meaning, guiding us toward a more profound understanding of our own humanity. In Chapter 4, the ideas of compassion and pity are explored through very different lenses. Buddhist teachings emphasize compassion as a powerful force. It's not just about feeling sorry for someone, it's about recognizing their suffering and wanting to alleviate it. Buddha encourages us to see ourselves in others and to feel their pain as our own. This connection can build a bridge of empathy, allowing us to act with kindness and support. It's an approach that celebrates the strength that comes from unity and love, urging us to share that strength with those who are struggling. On the flip side, Nietzsche presents a different take. He challenges the idea that compassion should always be the response to suffering. For him, pity can sometimes come off as condescending or even weak. It's a response that risks viewing another person as lesser or broken. Nietzsche advocates for strength, an inner resilience that allows one to face suffering without veering into pity. He argues that true strength lies in uplifting oneself and encouraging others to rise up too. This idea invites us to consider how we can empower those around us, rather than simply feeling sorry for them. So how do we balance these two perspectives? Is it possible to be compassionate without falling into the trap of pity? Imagine a friend going through a tough time. You see their struggles and want to help, but you also don't want to make them feel helpless. How do you approach them? Do you offer practical help and an understanding heart? Or do you risk making them feel small by showering them with pity? Let's take a moment to reflect. Picture a time when you felt strong compassion for someone. Maybe it was a family member who lost their job or a friend dealing with heartbreak. How did that compassion manifest? Did you offer support openly, or did you hesitate, afraid of overwhelming them? In daily life, we can sometimes confuse compassion with pity. For instance, when we see someone homeless on the street, we might feel pity and walk by, feeling helpless. But instead, we can choose to feel compassion. We can acknowledge their struggle and consider ways to help, whether that's offering food, shelter, or simply engaging in a conversation. In moments like these, we tap into a deeper well of compassion, a strength born not from a place of superiority, but from shared humanity. Studies show that acts of compassion, both big and small, can create ripples of positivity, not just for the receiver, but for us, the ones offering that kindness. Yet, misunderstandings often arise. Some may think that compassion means sacrificing our own well-being for others, but it doesn't have to be this way. True compassion is self-aware and balanced. It encourages us to maintain our strength while extending our hearts. Think about it. When you're running low on energy, how can you help others? It's like the analogy of the airplane safety instructions. You put on your own oxygen mask first before helping others. Nietzsche instills in us this idea of strength through struggle. He encourages us to embrace our challenges and become better for them. But this isn't to say we should ignore the pain of others. Instead, we can see our struggles as opportunities to learn and grow, both for ourselves and those around us. Let's pause and reflect again. Have you ever faced a challenge that tested your strength? How did that experience shape your view on empathy towards others? Perhaps you found that your struggles made you more compassionate, more open to the pain of others. As we delve deeper, we can consider how to cultivate both compassion and strength in our lives. Imagine a community that thrives on mutual support. Instead of viewing struggles as individual burdens, think of them as collective challenges. When we care for one another, we create a space that fosters healing, understanding, and empowerment. In this shared journey, compassion becomes not a weakness, but a source of strength. It's about standing together, recognizing each other's worth, and lifting one another up. Buddha's teachings on interconnectedness and Nietzsche's emphasis on individual strength can coexist harmoniously. So, in our everyday lives, how can we embody this balance? Perhaps we can start small. When someone shares their troubles with us, let's try to listen deeply. Instead of jumping straight to solutions or feeling pity, let's engage in meaningful conversations, offering our presence as a form of support. Think of a time when someone really listened to you. How did their empathy impact your experience? When we create these moments of connection and understanding, we help others feel seen and valued. As we draw near to the end of this reflection, let's bring our thoughts back to the essence of compassion and strength. It doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes the simplest acts, like a kind word, a warm smile, or an open ear, can be the most powerful. In recognizing these moments, we practice mindfulness, becoming more aware of our responses to others' suffering. We learn to shift from pity to compassion, from judgment to understanding. As we navigate our own paths, let's commit to being sources of compassion and strength for ourselves and those around us. By doing so, we create an environment rich in empathy, where everyone feels encouraged to rise, heal, and thrive. To close this reflection, let's take a moment to breathe. Inhale the strength that comes from understanding, and exhale the worry of judgment or pity. We are part of a beautiful tapestry of humanity, each thread important and interconnected. As we move forward, let's hold on to this wisdom, using it to guide our actions and interactions. Finding joy in fostering connections, let's remember that in every act of compassion, there is an opportunity for strength. What if I told you that life can sometimes feel like an endless loop of the same worries, joys, and struggles? This idea ties into two fascinating philosophies, Buddhism and Nietzsche's thoughts on nihilism and eternal recurrence. At first glance, these two might seem worlds apart. Buddhism, with its peaceful teachings and focus on mindfulness, versus Nietzsche, who boldly challenged societal norms and explored the concept of life's meaning or lack thereof. But when we dig deeper, we find that they both grapple with the inherent emptiness that can come with existence. Let's start with nihilism. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast emptiness. Everything you've built, your dreams, your relationships, your sense of purpose, feels like it could fade away in an instant. That's what nihilism often presents to us, a sense of nothingness and a belief that life lacks meaning. Nietzsche didn't shy away from this idea. In fact, he embraced it as a starting point, a way to challenge ourselves and reshape how we view our lives. But what if we flip the script? What if, rather than being trapped in emptiness, we see it as a blank canvas, a chance to paint our own meaning into the world? This is where Buddhism comes in. It teaches us that while life can feel empty or meaningless at times, we can still find beauty and connection. In Buddhism, the concept of suffering, or dukkha, is central. It teaches us that suffering is a part of life, yet it also offers a path to understand and transcend that suffering. Instead of dwelling in the despair of nihilism, we're encouraged to acknowledge our pain, but not let it define us. Buddhism invites us to be present, to find joy in the small moments, and to connect with the world around us. Let's pause for a second. Think about a challenging experience you faced recently. Maybe it was a tough day at work or a difficult conversation with a loved one. Did that situation feel like it was eating away at your sense of purpose, making you question the point of it all? The truth is, we all face moments of emptiness, moments where we feel as though nothing truly matters. Now, consider this. What if, like in Buddhism, you could use those moments to cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself? Instead of letting them drag you down, You could view them as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to find deeper meaning in your life. Now let's talk about eternal recurrence. Here, Nietzsche presents a thought-provoking question. What if you had to live your life over and over, exactly as it is, for all eternity? Would you feel joy or dread? This idea forces us to evaluate how we live each day. Are we making choices that resonate with our true selves, or are we merely going through the motions? In the Buddhist tradition, there's a similar idea of reincarnation, but with a different lens. Instead of being trapped in a cycle, there's a way to break free through understanding and compassion. Both philosophies challenge us to examine our lives deeply and honestly. They urge us to ask ourselves the tough questions. Are we living authentically? Are we connected to our purpose? Reflecting on our daily routines can be enlightening. For instance, consider how often we get lost in mindless activities, scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or even worrying about things that ultimately don't matter. How often do we stop and ask ourselves if those activities truly bring joy or meaning? Take a moment to think about your daily choices. Are they leading you to a fulfilling life, or are they just filling time? This kind of mindfulness is at the heart of Buddhism. It encourages us to be aware of how we spend our days and to make choices that align with our values and dreams. Now, let's explore a common misunderstanding about these philosophies. Some people think nihilism is inherently negative, a belief that can lead to despair, but that's only part of the picture. Nietzsche offers us a different perspective. By confronting the emptiness, we are freed to create our own meaning. In a similar way, Buddhism doesn't shy away from discussing suffering. It offers a path toward understanding and transcendence. When we see emptiness as a space for growth rather than a void, we open ourselves to possibilities. Imagine sitting in silence, simply observing your thoughts without judgment. You might notice patterns, sparks of creativity, or even a growing curiosity about who you are. This is the kind of awareness that both Buddhism and Nietzsche encourage. It's easy to get caught in a cycle of negativity, but by shifting our focus and asking ourselves deeper questions, we can reshape our narratives. Think about a past regret. Instead of allowing it to haunt you, could you see it as a lesson that shaped who you are today? In a way, that's a form of eternal recurrence. Here's a moment to reflect. Picture a time when you felt stuck in a loop, doing the same things over and over. Perhaps it was a job you didn't like, or a relationship that felt stagnant. What if you could approach that situation like Nietzsche suggested? You could focus on creating a version of your life that you would want to relive, a life that brings you joy and fulfillment. Both Buddhism and Nietzsche remind us of the importance of actively participating in our own lives. We can choose to confront our emptiness, to fill it with self-awareness, compassion, and purpose. It's about recognizing that even in the darkest moments, we have the power to bring light. Now, as we draw closer to the end of this exploration, let's take a moment to breathe. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, let go of any heaviness you might be carrying. Remember that life is a journey filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity and confusion. Instead of resisting emptiness, we can embrace it, allowing it to be a space for creativity and growth. Imagine this. With each experience, whether joyous or painful, you are painting your life's masterpiece. You have the brush in your hand. How do you want to fill your canvas? As we wrap up this reflection, let's take a moment to honor both the emptiness and the fullness of our lives. Life's complexities give us a rich tapestry to explore. It's a dance of light and shadow, joy and sorrow, meaning and meaninglessness. So as you go about your day, I invite you to carry this thought with you. In every small moment, there's potential. In every breath, there's an opportunity to create meaning. And no matter what, you're never alone on this journey. Embrace the emptiness and let it guide you to a fuller, more connected life. What if the truth lies not in right or wrong, but somewhere in between? This is a fascinating question that opens up a world of deeper understanding in life. In Chapter 6 of Buddha versus Nietzsche, we delve into the middle way and the path beyond good and evil. It's a space where two powerful philosophies intersect, offering rich insights into how we can navigate our lives. At first glance, the ideas of Buddha and Nietzsche might seem poles apart. Buddha teaches us to find balance and peace through moderation, while Nietzsche calls us to embrace our instincts and redefine our values. But if we look closely, we find that both are urging us to look beyond the black and white thinking that often dominates our lives. The middle way, a central concept in Buddhism, invites us into a space of harmony. It teaches us that extremes, be it pleasure or pain, can be traps. Think about it. When we swing from one extreme to the other, we often miss the beauty of balance. For example, we might indulge in a slice of cake and then feel guilt for days, or we might work so hard that we forget to enjoy life. The middle way nudges us to savor our cake, but also to be aware of how it makes us feel afterward. It's a gentle reminder that life isn't just about pleasure or suffering. It's about finding that sweet spot where we can experience both. Now, this doesn't mean we should avoid feeling or expressing our emotions. Buddha never taught us to suppress what we feel. Instead, the middle way encourages us to acknowledge our emotions without letting them control us. Imagine a time when you felt overwhelmed by anxiety or anger. Did you react on impulse, or did you take a moment to step back and breathe? That pause can be the difference between acting out of fear and responding with clarity. On the other side, we have Nietzsche, who challenges us to cast aside conventional morals and question everything we've been taught. He pushes us to live authentically, to embrace our true selves, even if that means straying from societal norms. Nietzsche's will to power asks us to assert ourselves and reshape our reality. This can be invigorating. However, it's essential to interweave this philosophy with the wisdom of the middle way. Without balance, the quest for power can lead to conflict and chaos. Let's reflect on this for a moment. Have you ever found yourself caught in a struggle between doing what's expected and what feels genuine to you? Maybe you've stayed in a job that doesn't resonate with your spirit because it's safe. Or perhaps you've tried to fit into a mold that others have created for you. These moments can weigh heavily on our hearts. It's in these conflicts that the middle way can light our path forward. Now, imagine you're out for a walk. The sun is shining and you feel good, but suddenly a cloud passes by and it starts to rain. Do you resist and get upset, or do you adapt and enjoy the rain as part of your experience? This simple moment of nature can reflect broader life lessons about embracing both joy and sorrow. The middle way teaches us that it's okay to be happy and sad at the same time. As we explore this intersection more deeply, let's tackle a common misunderstanding. Many think that the middle way means avoiding tough choices or living a bland life. On the contrary, it encourages us to engage with life passionately but mindfully. It's not about being passive, it's about being aware. When we live mindfully, we can pursue our passions without getting lost in them. Consider last weekend when you tried a new hobby. Did you dive in wholeheartedly, or did you find yourself judging your every move, worried about being good or bad at it? The middle way invites us to participate fully, free from the pressure of judgment. It's in that space of freedom that we often discover our true selves. Switching gears a bit, let's look at how these philosophies apply in our relationships. Often we find ourselves in toxic dynamics. We might be overly accommodating, trying to avoid conflict, or we may assert ourselves so aggressively that we push others away. Both extremes can hurt us. The middle way teaches us to communicate openly and compassionately while remaining true to ourselves. Let's take a moment to think about a relationship that's important to you. Are you in balance there? Do you feel free to express your needs and desires without fear? Building relationships along the lines of both Buddha and Nietzsche can be transformative. When we communicate with understanding, much like Buddha's teachings, and embrace our authentic selves, like Nietzsche encourages, we create connections that are rich and fulfilling. As we wind down our exploration, I invite you to ponder this. What would your life look like if you embraced the middle way? Imagine if you allowed yourself to feel joy without guilt, or engage with challenges without fear. The space between good and evil offers us the freedom to grow, learn, and evolve. A small spiritual practice inspired by the Buddhist tradition can enhance this journey. Try this simple exercise. Each evening, reflect on your day. Take a moment to write down one extreme you experienced and how you found balance. Maybe it was a moment of anger you transformed into understanding, or perhaps it was indulging in a hobby that brought you joy without comparison. This small act of reflection can bring clarity and peace, reminding you that both extremes can coexist. As we close our conversation today, let's carry with us the essence of both Buddha and Nietzsche. They remind us that life is not simply about following rules or asserting power. It's about finding our unique path, one where we can embrace the full spectrum of our experiences. So take a deep breath. Know that you are perfectly human, living in a world full of contrasts. Allow yourself the grace to walk the middle way, finding balance in the dance of life. Let this moment settle in, and as you step into tomorrow, carry this sense of harmony with you. What if the key to a fulfilling life lies in letting go? This idea can be both liberating and frightening. On one hand, we often cling to our desires, thinking they define us. On the other hand, figures like Buddha and Nietzsche push us to consider a different path, one of renunciation and asceticism. At first glance, they may seem like opposites, but both philosophers invite us into a deep conversation about how we find meaning in our lives. Buddha teaches that attachment leads to suffering. He suggests that by letting go of our cravings, we can achieve inner peace. It's a call to renounce worldly desires, not in a bleak or joyless manner, but as a way to truly embrace life. Imagine for a moment that you've made a mental list of everything you believe you need to be happy: money, success, relationships. Now picture yourself releasing this list. It can feel both scary and exhilarating, right? This sense of freedom is what the path of renunciation promises. On the flip side, Nietzsche challenges this idea through his concept of the ascetic ideal. He questions whether renouncing life's pleasures truly leads to happiness. For Nietzsche, life's worth is found in embracing our desires, not pushing them away. He inspires us to affirm our existence, with all its ups and downs, rather than deny it. When we think about it, there's a powerful allure in that. It's like standing at the edge of a beautiful cliff, feeling the wind in your hair, and knowing that the plunge is part of the adventure. Now, consider how these two philosophies interact. They each offer something valuable. When we cling too tightly to our desires, we may find ourselves trapped in cycles of frustration and disappointment. But if we go too far with renunciation, we risk losing the vibrancy of life itself. It's a balancing act, and one many of us struggle with daily. Let's talk about a common misconception. Some people think that renunciation means giving up everything: friends, fun, love. But that's not entirely true. Even the Buddha didn't advocate for total withdrawal from life. He urged mindful engagement with the world. It's about understanding our attachments and learning to appreciate the present moment without the constant pull of wanting more. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media, feeling a bit empty afterwards? That's a classic example of attachment. We chase likes and validation, thinking they'll bring happiness. In moments like this, reflecting on the teachings of Buddha can remind us to be present. Instead of chasing after likes, what if we focused on genuine connections? The joy of a good conversation or the warmth of laughter can be far more fulfilling than any number on a screen. Nietzsche, too, asks us to reflect on how we affirm life. Think about the last time you made a decision purely for yourself. Maybe it was choosing to try a new hobby or embarking on a spontaneous trip. In those moments of pure joy and self-expression, we're living out Nietzsche's philosophy. It's about embracing life in all its complexities and finding beauty in our struggles. As we navigate these ideas, let's take a moment to reflect. Imagine standing in a garden, surrounded by blooming flowers. Some flowers are vibrant and full of life, while others fade away. This natural cycle mirrors our own experiences with desires and attachments. While it's important to nurture the vibrant parts of our lives, we must also accept that some things will wither. Letting go can be a form of love, allowing new growth and experiences to flourish in their place. Now, let's consider how these philosophies apply in our everyday lives. Picture a stressful day at work. You might find yourself caught in the grind, letting stress build up because of your attachment to outcomes. What if instead you paused and took a few deep breaths? By practicing mindfulness, you're engaging with the present moment, an essential tenet of Buddhism. It can also help you appreciate the work itself, rather than just the results. In contrast, think about a time you indulged in something that felt truly right for you. Maybe it was treating yourself to a favorite meal or taking a day off to recharge. That's Nietzsche's affirmation of life in action. Embracing those moments of joy is just as crucial as the practice of letting go. Each philosophy offers tools to navigate our feelings and experiences. Now, let's explore another common misunderstanding. Some believe that embracing desires leads to chaos or a lack of self-control. However, it's not about being uncontrolled. It's about understanding what you genuinely want versus what society tells you to want. Both Buddha and Nietzsche challenge us to examine our motivations. Are we chasing something because it brings us joy, or are we simply following the crowd? Consider this: when you make a choice, ask yourself if it's aligned with your true self. This little act of self-reflection can lead to profound insights. You might notice that some desires fall away naturally when you inspect them closely. As we move through this conversation, let's be honest with ourselves. Life isn't always easy, and it's normal to struggle with these ideas. Sometimes we cling to attachments because they provide comfort in uncertainty. But just like a child holding on to a beloved toy, we may find that our attachments can also hold us back. So how do we find this balance? One approach is to practice gratitude. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you appreciate in your life. It could be the warm sun on your face, the laughter of a friend, or a quiet moment with a book. Gratitude helps bridge the gap between renunciation and affirmation. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of wonder. How would your relationships change? How would your work feel? This shift in perspective can transform mundane moments into opportunities for joy. Instead of seeing life as a series of obligations, you might start to view it as a collection of beautiful experiences waiting to unfold. To cultivate this mindset further, let's think about how you can engage with both philosophies. Perhaps you can meditate for a few minutes each day, allowing a sense of calm to wash over you. During this time, reflect on what you truly desire and what you might need to let go of. This practice can help clarify your intentions and bring a sense of purpose. Finally, let's circle back to both Buddha and Nietzsche and their invitation to explore life in all its complexity. Think of them like two wise friends, each offering different paths to the same destination, a deeper understanding of ourselves. Let their teachings guide you, but also trust your own instincts. When we allow ourselves to let go while also embracing life, we find harmony. It's not always easy, but it's a journey worth taking. As we wrap up this reflection, try to carry a little piece of this balance with you. Perhaps it's a moment of stillness or spark of joy that you can revisit in your daily life. In the end, the journey of understanding renunciation and affirmation is ongoing. Each day brings new opportunities to explore, to let go, and to embrace. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Just be open to the unfolding. After all, like the flowers in the garden, life is a beautiful dance between holding on and letting go. Embrace it, and you may find that both paths lead to a fuller, richer existence. What if the way we see the world is not the only way? Imagine for a moment standing in front of a painting, each viewer pulling something different from its colors and shapes. This simple idea speaks volumes about how we understand truth and illusion. In Chapter 8 of our exploration of Buddha versus Nietzsche, we dive into this fascinating conversation about perspectives, how they shape our reality and influence our emotions. Both Buddha and Nietzsche offer us different windows to look through, each with its own unique view on truth. Buddha, with his serene wisdom, often points us toward the idea that truth is something we can uncover through inner peace and enlightenment. He invites us to recognize the illusions in our minds, our desires, fears, and attachments, as barriers to understanding our true selves. For him, letting go of these illusions is a way to see the world clearly, like clearing fog from a windshield. On the other hand, Nietzsche brings a fiery passion to this discussion. He challenges us to confront our illusions, not to escape them but to embrace them. For Nietzsche, the truth is often uncomfortable and may even be painful. He believes we shouldn't shy away from our desires or struggles. Instead, he encourages us to harness them, to create our own values and truths. It's a gritty, bold call to face the chaos of life head-on, rather than retreating into a calm, meditative space. So where does this leave us? It's like standing at a crossroads. Do we strive for the calm of Buddha's approach, seeking inner peace and clarity? Or do we resonate more with Nietzsche's passionate call to confront and shape our own reality? The beauty is that both perspectives can coexist and enrich our understanding of life. As we navigate our daily lives, it might be helpful to think about how we interpret experiences. For example, consider a frustrating day at work. One person might see it as a disaster, the long hours and complaints overshadowing any good moments. Another might see it as an opportunity for growth, learning from challenges to better handle future ones. Both interpretations are valid. They reflect the unique perspectives we each bring to our experiences. Let's pause and reflect. In your own life, how do you navigate these different perspectives? Are there moments where embracing a little chaos has led to personal growth? As we dive deeper, it's essential to address some misunderstandings around truth and illusion. Many people think of truth as absolute, a hard, unyielding fact. But in our exploration of Buddha and Nietzsche, we come to realize that truth can be more fluid. It changes based on our experiences, our emotions, and even our beliefs. This doesn't mean that we should abandon all sense of reality, but rather we learn to see it through a more compassionate lens. One might misunderstand this idea to mean that anything goes, but that's not quite right. While our individual truths can differ, there are also shared truths that form the fabric of our communities. This balance between subjective experiences and collective understanding becomes the dance we all engage in, shaping the world around us. Imagine sitting on a park bench, watching people pass by. Each person carries their story, their joys, and their struggles. As we connect with their experiences, we begin to understand that while their truths may not be our own, they are equally valid. Now let's consider a moment of spiritual insight. Have you ever had a moment in nature, a quiet sunrise perhaps, where everything felt profound, almost sacred? In those instances, you might have caught a glimpse of a deeper truth, one that transcends our individual struggles and connects us to something greater than ourselves. Both Buddha and Nietzsche remind us that exploring our perspectives can lead us to deeper connections. It's not about choosing one over the other, but rather weaving them together. Reflecting on how we approach our truths can be a powerful practice. Are we clinging too tightly to our beliefs, or are we open to new experiences that might shift our understanding? Life is a continuous flow, and our perspectives can embrace that fluidity. As we explore further, let's touch on the concept of suffering. Buddha teaches that suffering is a part of life, often stemming from our attachments and desires. He encourages us to accept suffering without clinging to it, a gentle acknowledgement that life can be hard, yet still beautiful. In contrast, Nietzsche argues that suffering is a vital part of personal growth. He believes embracing our struggles allows us to forge our own path and create meaning in a chaotic world. This brings us to an essential question. How do we deal with our suffering? Do we push it away, or do we invite it in for a conversation? Perhaps it's about finding a middle ground. We can acknowledge our suffering without letting it define us. Think about a time when something didn't go as planned. Instead of seeing it as a failure, what if you viewed it as a stepping stone? This shift in perspective can transform hardship into an opportunity. As we wrap up this exploration, let's return to the idea of perspectives. Each of us walks through life carrying our own lens, tinted by our experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Buddhism and Nietzsche remind us that these lenses can either cloud our vision or help us see the world in vibrant colors. In closing, let's take a moment to breathe deeply and reflect. In the silence that follows, what truths can you uncover? What illusions can you let go of? Life is a journey, and each perspective we choose to embrace shapes our path. May we walk this path with open hearts and curious minds, constantly seeking to understand ourselves and each other more deeply. Remember, it's okay to carry uncertainty. In that space lies the potential for growth. Let's hold on to the beauty of exploration, both within ourselves and in the world around us. What if the key to living a truly fulfilling life lies in embracing our struggles rather than running away from them? This idea becomes particularly intriguing when we explore the contrast between Buddha's teachings of peace and Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or overman. Both perspectives offer us pathways to enlightenment, but they tread very different paths. Let's dive into Chapter 9 and see how these philosophies can open new doors in our minds and hearts. Firstly, let's take a closer look at Buddha's vision. For Buddha, enlightenment involves understanding the nature of suffering and finding peace through mindfulness and compassion. It's about letting go, embracing simplicity, and nurturing a calm mind. Imagine sitting quietly, breathing in and out, feeling anchored in the present moment. It's like finding a clear stream in a forest, where all the noise fades away and clarity emerges. Buddha encourages us to be aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's about noticing the world around us and realizing that everything is interconnected. Now shift your focus to Nietzsche, who challenges our understanding of existence in a very different way. His idea of the Übermensch invites us to rise above our limitations, to create our own values, and to embrace life in all its complexities. The Übermensch isn't about being superhuman in a physical sense. It's about the strength of spirit and character. It's as if Nietzsche is saying, don't just accept what life throws at you, use it as a stepping stone. His philosophy pushes us to confront our fears and desires, to forge our own paths, and carve out meaning in a world that often feels chaotic. At first glance, these two philosophies might seem worlds apart. Buddhist teachings encourage surrender and acceptance, while Nietzsche's philosophy advocates for strength and self-creation. Yet when we dig deeper, we realize they both seek transformation. Buddha guides us toward inner peace as a foundation, while Nietzsche challenges us to rise and sculpt our lives. They urge us to look beyond the surface and tackle the deeper questions about existence. Let's pause here for a moment. Think about a time when you faced a difficult situation. Did you try to escape it, or did you find ways to confront it head-on? Perhaps you've experienced the paradox of feeling lost and then discovering strength in vulnerability. This is where the beauty of both philosophies can coexist. Buddha teaches us to find peace amidst our chaos, while Nietzsche inspires us to transform that chaos into something powerful. Now, you might wonder, is it possible to embrace both philosophies? Absolutely. Life isn't about choosing one way over another. It's more like weaving a tapestry of experiences, beliefs, and truths. One common misunderstanding is that embracing enlightenment means abandoning ambition, but that's not the case. You can be at peace with who you are and still strive for greatness. Buddha's calm doesn't erase Nietzsche's fire. Instead, they can coexist, guiding us in different moments of our lives. Think of a garden. The flowers need sunlight to grow, but they also need rain. Sometimes, life brings joy, like the sun that warms us. And other times, it pours down, testing our resilience. When we learn to accept both the sunny days and the storms, we grow stronger and wiser. This is the journey toward enlightenment and the essence of the Übermensch, finding strength in vulnerability and wisdom in struggle. As we continue, let's consider how challenges shape our identities. How often do we hear people say they found their true selves through hardship? This is not just a cliché, but a powerful truth. When we face obstacles, we are invited to reflect on our values and the choices we make. This reflective process can be the birthplace of our own version of the Übermensch. Just as Buddha encourages us to observe our thoughts, Nietzsche beckons us to rise and become who we are truly meant to be. Now, imagine a small incident from your daily life. Perhaps you were stuck in traffic, feeling frustrated. In that moment, you could choose to let anger take over, or you might remember to breathe, finding peace within the chaos. This simple act mirrors the teachings of both philosophies. The way you respond becomes a reflection of the strength you cultivate and the peace you embrace. Let's shift gears for a bit and reflect on common barriers to understanding these philosophies. Many people mistakenly believe that to be enlightened means to always be happy, but that's not true at all. Enlightenment is about seeing life clearly, understanding both joy and pain. This deeper understanding helps us grow.
Similarly, some might think Nietzsche's ideas promote a selfish or aggressive approach to life. However, the true essence of the Übermensch is about personal growth and contributing to the world around us. It's about making choices that not only uplift ourselves, but also inspire others. So how do we find the balance between these two ideas? We can start by embracing our full spectrum of emotions. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or lost at times. Acknowledging these feelings doesn't mean we're failing. It means we're alive. Both Buddha and Nietzsche would likely agree that true strength is born from confronting our experiences, not avoiding them. Let's take another moment to reflect. Think about your dreams and ambitions. Are they guided by the expectations of others, or do they truly reflect who you are? This question can spark profound self-discovery. Both philosophies encourage us to look inward, to understand our motivations, and to approach our lives with intention. As we seamlessly weave through these teachings, it's essential to remember that enlightenment and the concept of the Übermensch are not destinations but journeys. It's less about achieving a final goal and more about how we travel each day. Imagine a river flowing steadily. It may face rocks and bends, but it continues on its path. Similarly, our lives will encounter challenges, but practicing mindfulness and embracing strength can keep us flowing forward. To bring this home, let's consider a small spiritual practice inspired by Buddhism.
Next time you feel overwhelmed, try sitting quietly for just a few minutes. Close your eyes, take deep breaths, and let your thoughts drift like leaves on the surface of a pond. Acknowledge each thought, but don't hold on to it. Just as Buddha teaches, allow your mind to settle. You may find clarity emerging, and in that tranquil state, strength might awaken within you. This practice can help you connect better with yourself and with the world around you. Slowly, as we contemplate these rich ideas, we understand how they can foster a sense of connection in our lives. Whether it's through finding peace in Buddha's teachings or embracing our strength as Nietzsche suggests, both paths lead us to the essence of human experience. To conclude, as we navigate this intricate dance between enlightenment and the Übermensch, let's commit to being present with ourselves. Let's embrace both our struggles and our triumphs, knowing that each moment is a step on our unique journeys. As you walk this path, let your heart remain open, your spirit resilient, and remember, your journey is a beautiful tapestry woven from both peace and strength. What if the key to finding peace lies not in escape, but in embracing everything as it is? This idea connects deeply with the philosophies of both Buddha and Nietzsche, especially in Chapter 10, where we explore the concepts of liberation, nirvana, and what Nietzsche calls amor fati, the love of fate. Buddha teaches us about nirvana, a state of ultimate freedom and enlightenment. It's about letting go of desires, attachments, and suffering. The idea is to rise above the chaos of life, leaving behind what weighs us down. Imagine walking along a busy street, feeling overwhelmed by noise and urgency. Now picture stepping off that street, finding a quiet park, and taking a deep breath. This is similar to what nirvana promises, a serene refuge away from life's incessant chatter. On the flip side, Nietzsche brings a different flavor to the idea of liberation. When he speaks of amor fati, he's inviting us to fully accept life as it comes, with all its struggles and joys. Nietzsche encourages us to embrace even those painful moments, seeing them as essential parts of our journey. It's like standing in the rain and realizing that while it may be uncomfortable, the rain nourishes the earth, allowing flowers to bloom. Now, at first glance, these ideas might seem at odds. Buddha suggests a form of escape from suffering, while Nietzsche seems to encourage diving headfirst into it. But here's the catch. Both philosophies share a core truth. They challenge us to confront our reality, whether by letting go or by loving what is. Let's break this down a bit more. When we think of liberation, many of us yearn for a life without pain, without challenges. It's a common desire to want to avoid struggle. Just think about a typical day. Perhaps you wake up feeling stressed about work, family, or finances. In those moments, it's easy to wish for a magic wand that would make everything easier. But what if true liberation wasn't about escaping all the difficulties? What if it was about learning to navigate them? For instance, consider a time you faced a challenge. Maybe it was studying for an important exam. You might have felt that pressure building, but when you finally sat down to study, you found that by engaging with the material, you not only prepared, but also felt a sense of growth. This mirrors the essence of amor fati. Nietzsche would say that rather than wishing the struggle away, embracing it can lead to strength and wisdom. Now, reflecting on these ideas, let's ask ourselves, what would it feel like to love your challenges? What if instead of resisting your emotions, like sadness, frustration, or anxiety, you welcomed them as part of your life? This doesn't mean we should revel in pain, but rather acknowledge that it's an intricate part of being human. In Buddhist teachings, there's a beautiful story about a monk who lost everything in a fire. Instead of despairing, he chose to see the situation as a chance for renewal. He found joy in rebuilding, a fresh start, free from past attachments. This is a powerful reminder that life often rebuilds us through our losses and challenges. But let's pause a moment. Many people misunderstand nirvana, thinking it's a place where all emotions vanish. It's not about becoming a robot, emotionless and detached. It's more about accepting emotions without letting them govern us. It's about finding that stillness in the storm. Similarly, people might view amor fati as a bleak acceptance of everything, a sort of resignation. In reality, it's an active participation in life, a courageous choice to say yes to every experience. Think about how often we resist what we can't control. A relationship that doesn't work out, a job that doesn't fulfill us, or even the small, annoying things like traffic or bad weather. We often get caught in our frustrations instead of recognizing that these moments contribute to our growth. Both these philosophies guide us toward acceptance, not as a passive act, but as a vibrant way to experience life. Now let's relate this back to our everyday lives. Say you're stuck in a traffic jam. It's easy to feel angry and frustrated. But what if instead you use that time to listen to a podcast, connect with your feelings, or even practice some deep breathing? This simple shift can turn a moment of irritation into an opportunity for reflection or learning. Reflecting on this, we might ask ourselves, how can I practice acceptance in my daily life? What small steps can I take to embrace my experiences, both good and bad? As we navigate the intricate dance between Buddha's nirvana and Nietzsche's amor fati, we discover that liberation lies not in the absence of difficulty, but in how we choose to respond to it. It's about finding peace within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. Let's take a moment to reflect on the challenges we face. Each one carries a lesson, an opportunity for growth. Many times the things we resist the most are precisely what we need to embrace. Imagine the last time you felt overwhelmed. What if that was your heart's way of pushing you toward deeper self-discovery? In a spiritual sense, many find that meditation or mindfulness can aid in this journey. When we sit quietly and observe our thoughts, we learn to let go of the urgency to control and instead focus on simply being. As we draw closer to understanding liberation, let's consider another beautiful story from the Buddhist tradition. There's a tale of a man who sought enlightenment. He meditated for years, pursuing rigorous practices. But when he finally found it, it wasn't in the intense effort or the ritual. It was in the quiet acceptance of life as it was. A realization that he could find peace in every moment, regardless of its chaos. In our own lives, we might discover that liberation is not found in a distant place, but right here, within us. Embracing both nirvana and amor fati allows us to confront the beautiful messiness of life, understanding our challenges, and celebrating our existence. So, as we consider these ideas, let's take a deep, calming breath. Liberation is about being present. It's about letting go of the need to escape and instead finding joy in the journey, however winding it might be. We can learn to love our experiences knowing that each moment contributes to our unfolding story. Ultimately, it leads us toward a quiet heart, a mind at peace, and an unwavering spirit. It's a beautiful way to live, and perhaps, just perhaps, it's the most profound form of liberation we could ever experience. As we navigate the complexities of life, may we embrace everything, allowing it to shape us, nourish us, and guide us towards a fuller, richer understanding of what it means to be alive.